What is the weirdest thing you've heard or had happen to you while using a public restroom? NSFW. I had the pleasure of hearing some poor soul trying to pass a kidney stone in a movie theater restroom. His screams would have scared the shit out of me if that wasn't why I was in there in the first place. Overheard someone on the phone getting the results of their STD test, which was positive. Went to a public bathroom at a restaurant stop in rural China. I was peeing on a squatter toilet and a woman come in and squats on the one beside me. There is no barrier between us. We could touch hands if we both put our arms out. Anyways, she starts taking a dump with all the noises and I had to get out real quick. More of a culture shock thing since she was completely fine with it. Edit, I'm a female. Some guy in the Seattle Greyhound station odd in the women's bathroom and I had to call 911. The paramedics moved him to the lobby where he died while we were waiting for our bus. I was 16. I was at a goth club and I was nauseous because I drank too many gin and tonics, so I went to the bathroom to take a shoot. My stomach hurt, so I was rubbing my belly like a cartoon character as I waited for a stall to up. A gay Asian guy in bondage gear not odd for the location walked up to me and said, "Oh honey, stomach ulcers," and gave me a hug and patted my back. I didn't have a stomach ulcer, but I was very compelled to hug back because I appreciated the sympathy. He then walked off without saying anything else. Seemed like a good guy. This girl was moaning in the stall next to me and I assumed she was masturbating, so I walked by without looking. She called out help. It turns out she was moaning in pain and she was having a medical emergency. I called an ambulance. I was driving between Houston and Austin and stopped at a gas station to go pee. I do my business and start washing my hands when I looked up and saw a man covered head to toe in burn marks staring at me from a stall. I didn't hear or see anyone when I went inside, so I literally jumped and ran out of there. I still feel bad about it, but I like to tell myself it was a ghost so I don't feel like such an asshole. I was in the bathroom of movie theater peeing in a urinal when I felt something tug on my shirt. I turned around and there was this little kid, had to be younger than 5. He asked if I could hold him up so he can pee in the urinal next. We are the only ones in this bathroom and I'm peeing hard because I just got out of a movie. I had such a dad moment though because I said, "Ask your mom." He said okay and skipped out of the bathroom. I didn't even wash my hands. I just wanted to be out of there before a data line camera crew showed up. Someone was taking a shoot and eating and talking on the phone. I was disgusted and impressed with the multitasking. Not necessarily a public restroom. I worked at a financial company with over 2,000 people in one office. There are around 10 different bathrooms in the building, all with multiple stalls/urinals. Anyway, I was on my break and ran to the bathroom to relieve myself. I saw someone in one of the stalls because feet and doors were closed. As I walk up to the urinal, I hear the guy sneeze. I say, "Bless you," like people do for some reason. Guy in the stall hits me back with, "That wasn't a sneeze." I just left and went to a different bathroom. Meth head in a Toronto second cup bathroom warned me that dolphins are not to be trusted and told me about how they're mind controlling humans while I peed. Not me, but it happened to my son. He was about 4, maybe 5 at the time. We were on vacation in San Francisco, CA. We were on Fisherman's Wharf and my son and I went in to use the restroom. It was cool and rainy day and the tile floors were wet. We go in a stall so he could pee as all the urinals were taller than him. So he drops trow and hikes up his shirt and jacket and saddles up to the toilet and he starts peeing. Well, he is on his tippy toes and all of a sudden he is head first in the toilet. He slipped and nosedived into the toilet. He was soaked head to waist. I get him out of the toilet. I'm struggling so hard trying not to laugh. I get him out and strip his shirt and jacket off of him and just put them in the trash and wash and dry him off. Take my jacket and put it on him. He's crying and him dying from laughter inside. We get out of the bathroom and head to the nearest store and get him a new shirt and jacket. Then find my wife and daughter, who both proceeded to ask why he was in all new clothes. Then once I tell them, they start laughing. He still hates when I bring up the time he fell into the toilet at Fisherman's Wharf. Edit. Wow, thank you everyone for the ups and awards. I was pooping and let out a really violent fart and someone outside said bet that burned, and he sounded like Larry the Cable Guy. My first time going to the Sturgis motorcycle rally. Was told to meet my new friend Dave and his friend Uncle Dick at the Tar in Rogers, Minnesota. I ride my bike there and go inside to piss. There's an old man inside already taking a leak. I say, "You must be Uncle Dick." He switches hands, turns halfway around, and reaches out to shake my hand. "I'll just wait until you're done." My best trip to the rally yet. It was the middle of the day, but it was at a casino. I was at the urinal. There was a guy a couple of urinals away that was obviously drunk. Nothing too crazy, just a lot of swaying. He may have lowered his pants, which would also be crazy. He suddenly got the urge to vomit, so he spun around to puke in a toilet. Vomit and urine started erupting as the guy got tangled up in his pants and fell over. He didn't get knocked out or anything. As I walked out I thought, I really hope that guy has a room here, and I really hope no one is waiting for him outside the bathroom. Wife. Sneak back to the room. Shower. Burn your clothes. And hit the sack. Was pissing at a urinal and the guy next to me said, "Don't judge me, I'm a grower not a shower." I mostly ignored him. Then he asked me if I wanted to buy some weed from him. But before I could answer, which would have been no, he said, "Well, it isn't real weed. It's fake weed. Doesn't actually get you high. It's what I smoke when in practicing guitar. Keep it weird, Austin." Once upon a time I was in Europe and accidentally locked myself inside of a stall that had a toilet I couldn't figure out how to flush, and then a door I couldn't figure out how to op. I had to climb over the stalls because the gap wasn't big enough below. So I'm making my great escape and some dude walks up to the stall and I make a small noise. He looks up and I just hope he has forgotten it by now. Was using the urinal in the Port Authority men's room when some random guy walks up behind me and says, in a raspy voice, "Hey kid, I like your hair." Still peeing, I turn around and say thanks, and he says, "You like pineapple?" Caught off guard I ask, "What? Pineapple?" At this point I'm zipping my pants back up and starting to turn around to face him. He then points to underneath the wall of the first bathroom stall to a black plastic bag, like one from the liquor store, and says, "Yeah, you wanna buy one? I got one right there, it's delicious." Sure enough, there's a black plastic bag with a pineapple sticking out of it on the floor of the Port Authority men's room. I told him I was allergic to pineapple. He seemed shocked and, quite frankly, really sad that I couldn't eat his delicious pineapple, and we parted ways. We had a company all hands meeting at our artisan theater that was way too far from our office to be cool. So after a 4-hour session of watching executives pat themselves on the back, we were finally turned loose and started the long walk back to the office. I had to pee like crazy, so me and another guy stopped into a bar. Happened to be a gay bar, about 5 PM on a weekday. When I went into the bathroom, the urinal was one of those steel troughs bolted to the wall, and there was a shirtless man laying in the urinal, with 2 dudes peeing on him. I really had to go, but noped out of that whole scene, and used the toilet stall with no door on it. I could speculate why they took the doors off, but I'd rather not. When I got done, I turned around, and the guy I worked with was zipping up at the urinal. Waking back to the office was pretty quiet. Eventually I just asked, "Did you pee on that guy?" He said yeah in this quiet voice that didn't invite further discussion. I was in a stall at work browsing Reddit after using the toilet and just killing time until my break was over, when what can I only tell was a somewhat older man shuffling his way over to the stall next to mine. He then lets out a thunderous fart and sits on the toilet and moans out, "Oh dear God, it's the end of days." I immediately put myself together and left that restroom before I heard any more. There was hot water in the toilet. Not that I directly touched the toilet water, but the whole thing was radiating heat. Edit for those who are curious, it was in a hotel lobby in Jacksonville, FL. Pretty sure it was just hooked up to the hot water line instead of the cold. It was too hot to be warmed by the weather. The pipes leading to it were covered in condensation because the AC was on. The toilet refilled with hot water after it was flushed, so I doubt it was mop water. When I was younger, high school age, I had been constipated for a few days. I got the urge while I was in the mall and went to the bathroom. It was empty when I got there and was having a rough time pushing this meteorite out. Then I hear some people walk in, a man and a woman talking, then they started making out. Now I was a pretty shy kid, so I tried hard not to make noise and be noticed. Next thing I know, I can see through the crack in the stall that the girl is taking off her pants. I guess it escalated to the point where I was getting nervous, which caused the giant chute I was trying to take to rocket out. They of course noticed, and she says, "Oh shoot, someone's in here," then they rushed out. When I was a kid, my parents worked in a university as professors, and I would go to their offices after school until they finished work and we would go home. Importantly, the men's and women's bathrooms were right next to each other, and they had the type of ceilings which are tiles resting on a grid type metal grid. One day, I was about 10 years old. I went to the bathroom. I was sitting on the toilet in the stall, and for some reason looked up. Directly over my head, there was a guy looking down at me. He had climbed up from the men's side, removed the ceiling tiles, and was peeping at the female college students as they went to the bathroom. Apparently I was the first person that looked up. I walked into the bathroom at a hospital food court, was in dire need to relieve myself. As I walked in, I heard some thumping from one of the stalls, like someone was gently pounding on the stall walls. Then I saw two pairs of shoes, one in front of the other, under the closed stall door. Due to my need to empty my bladder, I decided to ignore what I saw and took care of business. As I was walking out, the stall door opened, and one of the food court employees came out, alone. He had been changing into his uniform on his way to work, including his shoes. I actually had thought it was two guys having sex in the stall. He must had thought I was crazy as I walked out of the bathroom laughing hysterically at myself. My sister always believed in the importance of teaching her son, even from a young age, to use the correct terminology for genitalia. There was no "that's your pee-pee" or "those are your privates." It was always "that is your penis." So the day before Christmas Eve, we are doing some last minute shopping. My nephew was mostly potty trained at this time, but still wore a diaper just in case. She goes off to do some shopping, and I take him to the washroom for a change as he has had an accident. As I'm wiping him clean, he screams bloody murder in a washroom full of people, "Auntie, don't touch my penis." I was freaking mortified, worrying that people are thinking I'm molesting him. So I say loudly yet kindly, "We have to make sure you're clean." I've never been so embarrassed in my life walking out of that stall. And to top it off, I was like 19, but definitely looked younger. TL. Doctor, my nephew screamed at me not to touch his penis in a very busy mall bathroom the day before Christmas Eve.